Good morning, Stephen at Keswick Vineyards speaking, standing in our Cab Franc block, introducing a new concept in winemaking where we're going to use Facebook and invite our friends to make wine. So do we pick today, or do we wait until Tuesday and possibly make better wine? It can also work the other way. You decide. Alright, Cabernet Franc is picked. It's sitting in the reefer truck. Quality looks fantastic. I think it can make superb wines. Do we add sulfur and use a cultured yeast? Or do we do something slightly riskier and actually don't add sulfur and let the wines ferment on its own accord? You decide. Good morning, Stephen at Keswick Vineyards speaking, standing in front of our Facebook wine, introducing a new concept in winemaking where you, our Facebook readers, decide. So firstly, thanks for deciding on native fermentation. No sulfur additions, fermenting the wine on its own accord. Very, very cool, kind of risky, but I'm looking forward to it. Question of the day again is, something drinkable, fruity, something you can open up, or something big, bold, and rich, something that's going to lay down and mature for a couple of years. You decide. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Hi folks, Stephen at Keswick Vineyards speaking, talking about our Facebook Cabernet Franc. Just to bring you up to speed, the wine has finished fermentation. And again, thank you very much for voting. Just to bring you up that we didn't add any yeast, no sulfur. It actually fermented on its own accord. Happy to say that the wine looks phenomenal, even better than the wine that I put in tank and used yeast on. So it's a really, really great choice. So where we are right now, the next step is to put it into barrel. And this is where I need some help on. So very simply today, French versus American. French oak, fruit respective, a little elegant. American oak, a little sweeter, bigger, bolder. But this is what makes this all fun. I have my opinion, but this is where you decide. Let me know what you think. With Facebook's big announcement of going public this week, we at Keswick Vineyards have an even bigger announcement, going public with a wine made by Facebook, using our Facebook friends, aptly named the Friended Franc. If you may remember, in 2009, I asked you, the Facebook friends, how to make wine. You know, I need all the help I can get, and you voted upon things like when to pick it, you know, how to ferment it, what barrels to mature it in, what to call it, the label being designed by Chris Schornberg. And just to recap, you decided on making a big, rich wine, a wine that was fermented without the use of commercial yeast, a wine that was matured in French oak, and Friended Franc being the name. Beautiful packaging, great job by Chris designing the label. But now it's time to release it and taste it, and actually the proof is in the pudding. I'm very, very, very excited. I have the bottle here. Let's have a look at the wine. Really, really pretty color, really deep and garnet. Let's see what it smells like. You know, truthfully, not your typical Cabernet Franc. A lot of Cabernet Francs tend to be very vegetative and tobacco and have that sort of semblance of bell pepper. This has none of that. It actually really is pretty floral with a lot of red fruits, a lot of sort of sour cherry and currant, and a little bit of chocolate on the back end. Let's taste it, but because ultimately that's what it boils down to. So here we go. The first thing you pick up is textural. The wine is big. After almost 2 years in the bottles, you know, those tannins are really, really grippy and very, very stiff, but really integrated. They're not overwhelming the fruit. You know, those red flavors still come through onto the palate. You've got some beautiful acidity on the front end, but then it turns into that cherry and currant on the mid palate, and it finishes with a nice spiciness and sort of chocolatey on the back end. Let's just taste one more time just to be 100% sure. Definitely fruit forward, definitely a new world style of wine, but it is pretty big, something that you can lay down probably for the next 3 to 5, maybe even 7 to 8 years. You ask for a big, rich style of wine, I think you've got it. All things considered, we're very, very excited to be pouring this in our tasting room after many, many years. I want to thank you for all your help. There's only one more question. How many cases do you want to buy? You decide.